Lesson 11. Physics. Hello fellow game designers, welcome to the Wicked Cat Unity Introduction course. Today we are going to study a special collider, the wheel collider. This is a specific collider for the wheels of grounded vehicles. Step 8. Wheel collider. The wheel collider is used for the wheels of grounded vehicles. Just like the other colliders, this component has a built-in collision detection system, plus, it has a wheel physics system and a slip-based tire friction model. As you can see, you have several parameters on this component. On mass, you define the mass of the wheel. Next, on radius, you set the radius of your wheel. The suspension distance is the maximum extension distance of wheel suspension. This is always measured on local space. Keep in mind that suspension always extends downwards on the y-axis. Next, you can define the center of the collider using coordinates for the 3-axis. These coordinates are set in local space. Moving on, you have a section of parameters dedicated to suspension spring. The spring parameter sets the spring force, which attempts to reach the target position. Bigger values make the suspension reach the target position faster. The value you set on damper dampens the suspension velocity. Larger values make the suspension spring move slower. Finally, the target position is the rest distance along the suspension distance. If you set the value to 0, it will fully extend the wheel suspension, while the value 1 will fully compress the suspension. The default value of this parameter is 0, which matches the behavior of a regular car's suspension. The next two groups of parameters allow you to set the forward and the sideways frictions. The friction applied to a wheel can be described by the wheel friction curve. There are two different curves for wheels, one for the wheel's forward direction and other for the sideways direction. In both, it's first determined how much the tire is slipping. This is based on the speed difference between the tire's rubber and the road. Next, this slip value is used to find out tire force exerted on the contact point. Then, the curve takes a measure of tire slip as an input and gives a force as output. Real tires can exert high forces for low slip, since the rubber compensates for the slip by stretching. When the slip gets really high, the forces are reduced as the tire starts to slide or spin. Because of this, the tire friction curves look a lot like this graphic. As you can observe, you have the same 5 parameters in both groups. The extremum slip and value set the curve extremum point. The asymptote slip and value set the curve asymptote point. Finally, the stiffness is a multiplier for extremum and asymptote values. Changing its value from the default value 1 changes the stiffness of the friction. Setting the value to 0 will disable all friction from the wheel. You can modify the stiffness value at runtime using a script. This will allow to simulate various ground materials. This was our final video on Unity 3D colliders. On the next video, we will start looking at physics materials. If you have any doubts or feedback, leave it on the comment section below. Until next time, and keep doing awesome games.